Is anybody who don't get anger? Everyone gets anger. So who would like to manage the anger? Everyone. Anyone. So how many of us think that the anger is bad? Or something like this? We need to eliminate anger. How many of us think like that? So how many of us think that we need to kill anger? Go to a doctor and get an operation. Doctor, can you just remove this anger element from me? You think it's so serious, so bad that we need to think about that, or it's okay to have anger? Just try to understand. Sorry? It's bad to have, so it's better to get operated. Okay, she votes for the operation. So how many of you don't like to get operated and completely take out the anger? How many of you would like to keep a little bit? If there's a free
for the right reason.
Sorry?
I said I'll keep the anger for the right reason.
Okay, so you'd like to keep it for the right reason.
I would like to keep my anger, but take it out someone else. Others. That's definitely me. I'm alright with mine. I can handle it. Like, other people have anger issues.
Oh.
So they should be removing it.
Oh, so you like to get somebody else operated? That's interesting. Very interesting. Okay. So how many of us think that anger is something very natural, just like we feel hungry? So we also feel angry sometimes.
I think anger is natural.
It's natural.
But you can have control over anger or something.
It's quite natural, but you should not have more
control over anger. So how do we control anger? We all know the consequences of anger. There are too many consequences. There are physically, it can damage our body. Mentally, it can damage. Intellectually, it can let us fall down. And spiritually, yes, it's a lot of damage. Socially, okay. So we all know the reasons why we need to manage, right? So sometimes when we get anger, we suppress it. How many of us have that ability to suppress it, right? Okay. And what else? What other states are available? Let's say we get anger.
Acting out.
Okay. One is to suppress, second is to let it go, lose it. Use it, right? Okay. Suppress it. Second one is to let it go. Okay. Any other third type? Let go. Let go is one thing. Suppress is second thing. Any other thing?
You can transform it.
Transform it.
Or rechannel. Like say you're angry with someone, then if you're revengeful, the best way to take revenge is the victory the way you see it, rather than just hitting back or something like that. You channel that anger into something that the end result will be completely different. Input and output. Input is anger, that's frame of mind, but coming out transforms into something else. So you can use anger. vehicle
Hmm.
kind of place.
Okay. So what is the problem with suppressing it?
It's worse.
It's worse. I mean, is everyone aware about what's the problem if we suppress anger? What happens?
It can make you sick internally.
It can make us sick internally. What other thing?
It can accumulate. It can build up.
It can build up. Okay. And then?
It comes out in one burst.
Hmm.
That's the highlight.
Right?
It's
So
interesting.
that's the problem, right? So, some innocent people get fried out probably, right? You're angry on somebody else and you suppressed it, and it's going out somebody like your inferior or some work, your boss or something, right? Or you're frustrated outside, you come home and you show it on your family. So that's the problem, that's really. So, and also the more you hold it, the bigger damage it does to us. Anger is like, imagine anger to be like a burning coal. Right? It's a burning coal. It's very, it can change our emotions, facial expressions, and it can generate so much of chemicals that, it was news that a baby died because she was being mother-fed, fed by mother, breastfed. So they later found out due to the chemicals that the body generates when she was very angry on somebody else. So it can be so dangerous, as dangerous as that. So it is. It's like a burning coal in the hand, and you're waiting. So let's say you're angry on somebody else and you want to take a revenge or something, right? The more you hold it, it causes more damage to us than the other person. Let's say I'm just holding it. Okay, I'll calm down a little bit and forget it. No, can't forget. Can't forgive him. I need to finish him. I can't let this anger go down. Keep holding it. It actually burns our own hand. And unknowingly, we don't know how much of damage that we cause to ourselves, right? So definitely suppressing or losing it out. So we need to figure out a way that we don't have to hold the anger, right? And it's very difficult to do that, to let it go and to be peaceful, right? Sometimes these words are like a broken record. They're coming. Somebody abuses. They said something and they keep coming on. So it's very difficult. So the problem with let it go is it becomes a habit. If you easily let it go, then anger will use us, isn't it? We become slaves of anger. Then we have no control over it, and then we get stamped. Oh, angry man. Oh, angry woman. Don't bother. Then they will start eliminating us. Let's go this direction.
But
Right?
let me ask a question. Say
Yeah.
if you quantify, you have 1 pound of anger inside you.
Uh-huh.
Why is it's building up? Because it's supposed to be 1 pound.
No, even
The
the
act of suppression makes it 10 pounds. Why is that? You know what I'm saying? Because, or is it really 1 pound when it comes out?
The example which producer answers that, right? It's a coal in your hand.
Okay.
Imagine what happens. Your hands will get burned, right?
Or it gets worse.
It goes, right?
Oh, it gets worse.
It gets like, it fire spreads, right? It doesn't stay in one place, right? So it builds up.
Builds up. Naturally.
It's destructive. Let's say example, this example is given in Vedic scriptures. So they have sort of all the practice from showing this example. This practice.
Thank you, Guru. So now let's see the third thing, right? The problem with suppressing is we discussed in detail, and if we let it go, it becomes a habit, and we get bad reputation. And it's a problem. The relationships get broken, we become alone. Every time you start a new friend, every 6 months you'll change a friend. Right? It's a problem. So, and the more we break the relationship, the more problems, the more anger will become, because those things can keep coming in the mind. So, now the solution is to really manage it, right? So the real solution is to manage the anger. But before that, as everyone rightly said, it's a natural emotion that we all have. It's nothing wrong if you're, and based on our modes of nature, the modes that we are in, we may be in different anger, based on the circumstances that we grew up, based on certain our previous karma, and the surroundings also can really make a big impact on this. There are people in this world who can bring best out of us in their presence. They can bring the best out of you. There are some people who can bring worst out of you. Right? It happens, right? So it's really, we are just like a mirror. So we are so vulnerable that they can actually, other environment can make us act differently, right? The surroundings. So now let's understand some secrets, not like a regular anger management course where they say so many other tips and this and that count. So let's go and understand from the scriptures and from a higher perspective of how to really manage this anger. Go to the roots, right? So why does anger come? Why do we get anger? That many of these outside world courses, they won't offer to that level.
What is the source of anger?
The source of anger, yeah. If you can eliminate the root, there's no problem. Yes.
Oh, I feel it's inner turmoil
Turmoil. Okay.
for my individual self. If I have it, it's my issue.
Mm-hmm. Sure. And anybody else? Go ahead. Expectation. Mm-hmm.
Our mind is set to something.
Mm-hmm.
When that doesn't happen, we tend to feel anger.
Mind is, the expectations are set. So, okay, we're coming closer. All are right.
Some people are naturally inclined towards anger, while others are not so much. Besides all the circumstantial stuff going on around you,
Okay.
giving you turmoil. Some people are more, delineated inclined towards anger. Others are not. So it's inheritance.
Okay.
Inheritance.
So anyway, what is the root? So why are they naturally inclined? What is the root cause? Okay, Prabhuji says ego.
Unconsciousness.
Sorry?
Unconsciousness.
Unconsciousness. Ah.
I think it's a difficulty to adjust. Like when you're rigid and you only expect certain things and you don't want to change, or rigid, a certain perspective, and you're not going to change it. So you're just sticking to one thing and holding on. So I think a lot to do with like attachment and not willing to accommodate or change.
Okay. So she said, one word, attachment, and not willing to. So attachment, that's a very important key word in this presentation. Generally, I have a lot of slides that, this is the essence. It's better we interact. Sometimes the slides distract us. So they force us to go in one direction, right? Not in the way we wanted. So, okay, attachment. So how many of you think attachment could be one of the root cause? How many of you disagree with that? So she agrees with it. How many of us disagree that?
Agree.
You agree. How many of us disagree? You disagree. Very nice. You disagree.
I couldn't find exact connection.
Connection is not found.
Connection is not
Found.
Cut.
Okay.
I
Very
could
well.
be attached to something good.
Okay.
I mean, the purity.
Attachment in itself, yes, it need not be. Okay. Anybody else? Mataji?
I agree.
You agree. Rajapu? most of you agree. Mataji? It's nice to be interactive, that way it registers, in the mind. Otherwise, we can go on many wonderful slides and go home, it's very nice. And then we don't remember most of the stuff. Okay? Doubtful? Agree. You disagree with your husband? Anyway, Prabhuji said he doesn't see the link. Okay. So what is the link, then missing link? Those of you agree, can you guess what could be the missing link between attachment and anger? So what is the name, the English name that we use just before we become angry? Pre-anger, what do you call that pre-anger situation?
Disappointed?
Disappointed, yes.
Irritated, annoyed?
Irritated, annoyed.
Expectation?
Ego.
No, I'm just in one more minute. I'm going to become anger now. I'm going to show my anger on all of you, right? So next minute. But before I do that, what is that stage called? Can you observe that I'm going to get upset? If somebody is like, yeah. So
Not happy.
what do you see on the face? Happiness,
No.
Not happy.
Teeth clanging.
frustration, frustration, right? Frustration. Yeah. So what makes us frustrated?
When you are attached to something and if you're not getting what you want, that can trigger
Oh.
a little bit
So
imbalance.
you said it all. You said it all. That's it. That's the missing link. That's what that's confirmed by Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is accepted everywhere to be, most profound knowledge it has. Krishna said very simply. He explains from the roots. Even pre-attachment, he goes to pre-attachment. How do we get attached to anything?
Constantly thinking about it.
Right. You think, how do we, so anyone want to volunteer about saying something that they're attached to? You're attached to something, Srikar? Nothing. So he's attached to nothing. Okay.
There's something. My Pokemon.
What?
My Pokemon cards.
Game. It's a game.
It's a game. Poke Waterhouse. Yeah. So how did you get that, know about that game? Who told you first about the game? It came in your dream, one day you're sleeping and suddenly you woke up, oh, game, and you went, how did you get to know about that game? Sorry?
You don't want
You don't want to tell.
It's being possessed.
It's part of my personal business.
Wow. Yes. Now he's getting frustrated. Now he's showing anger. Because he's attached to that game, we're making fun of that game, he's getting anger. He's not going to tell us. But can I make a multiple choice? You say ABC. A is that one of your friends showed you. B is that you heard from your friend.
A is my friend.
A is correct.
A is correct? So somebody showed you and then you get attached to it. Right? So this is how it happens. Sorry?
So you like it, you'll get attached.
You like it? Yeah. They showed you, you like it, you get attached to it. So what if somebody else showed you another game where it's a Vedic game? You see, it has something to do with spiritual, but it's a game. So there are good chances that you can be attached to that too. Right? Yeah. So anyway, the point is, in terms of anger, it doesn't matter whether it's a good attachment or bad attachment. It gives the same result. You see, the result will be the same. Whether it's good or bad, you're attached to something, and because you're attached to that, and then there are chances that you will not get it, and then you may get frustrated. Correct? So now, what does Krishna say in Bhagavad Gita? The word starts with Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsa. Dhyayato means what? think. Vishaya. Vishaya is?
Object.
Vishaya is what?
Vishnu.
Vishaya.
Object, right?
No, Vishaya. Vishaya. Telugu.
Information.
Yeah. Vishaya is things. Material generally. So how do we describe material? Anyway, generally Krishna conscious way of describing material is something that's not connected to God. It's material. So anything that's connected to God is spiritual. So Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Pajayate. So Sangha is like you develop attachment. So by contemplating, so his friend told him about that game, then he thought about it. So now he has to wait for his dad's iPhone immediately to download that game, right? So Dhyayato Vishayan Pumsaha Sangasteshu Sangat Sanjayate Kama. So due to that attachment, you develop a great desire to get it. Sangat Sanjayate Kama. So you develop a great desire now to get it, right? Kamat krodho vijayate. Now because you have a great desire to get it, anything that you are attached, there are two fears. Vita, raga, bhaya, krodha. Krishna says to be liberated means you have to be detached from attachment, fear and anger. Attachment, fear and anger. First step is attachment, second is fear, third is anger. Vita, raga. Not yet. Oh, you're eating? Okay, you can eat. He found it interesting because you're talking about his game, so he wants to be. So when we are attached to something, there are two kinds of fear that we get. Any guesses? Fear number one.
Fear of losing.
Fear of?
Afraid of losing.
Losing. You are attached to something, you have it, or you know somebody may steal it, somebody may do something to it, right? What is the second? Fear of losing. If you have it, you have that fear of losing. If you don't have it,
You
Yes,
strive for
right.
achieving.
Right. Just like a movie hero. He's not, a villain cannot really do anything to the hero, right? The hero does everything. But the climax, what happens? What happens in the climax of most of the Indian movies?
Good over the evil.
Sorry?
Villain
Villain will?
will take it and then hero will fight to get it back.
Yeah, but what will generally the villain take? Heroine? Or his children? Right? That's when the hero is trapped. I mean, he can't do anything now. No? So, anything that we are attached, so people can blackmail. If I'm attached to something, he can blackmail. I'll give you this, so he can, our values can be up for sale. If I'm attached to something, if a police is attached to money, so somebody can bribe him, or a church. If you're attached to something, so if you find that you're attached to that, then he can bribe, oh, I'll give you. So your values cannot go up for sale. Or he can scare you. I'm going to take care of your children, or something. So it's very obvious that the moment we have attachment, these fears come, right? So Pita is give up, raga, bhaya, krodha. So first of all, there is raga, there is attachment, then bhaya. There is fear, and then krodha. And then we know finally we lost it, then we get upset, frustrated, we show anger. Okay? So then that's not the ending point, what Krishna is saying. So, Jayato Vishayan Purthava Sangasteshu Sangha Sanjayate Kamat Kamat Krodha Bhujayate Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha. Sammoha is what? When we get anger, what happens? We get bewildered. Krodhat Bhavati Sammoha. Sammohat Smruti Vibhrama. Smruti, what is Smruti? Memory. Memory is lost. Memory of, oh, if I do this, I'll go behind the path. If I do this, my reputation is lost. If I do this, my manager will lose faith on me. If I do this, my kids will learn from me the bad anger stuff, right? This memory that we know, otherwise, if we are not in a bewildered state, we clearly remember that. But when you are in that bewildered state, we can't remember the consequences. As simple as that. So we can lose that memory. Krodhat bhavati samoha, samoha smriti vibram, smriti bhramshat buddhi nasha. See how beautiful Krishna is telling. Just 2 lines, he can explain the whole course. Smriti bhramshat buddhi nasha. Nasha means destroy. What is destroy? Buddhi means in English intelligence. The memory is, so there is a link between the memory and the intelligence, the brain, right? So when you lose your memory, the intelligence is lost. And when the intelligence is lost, buddhinasha pranashyati. Then we fall down. Then that's when we abuse language, or we can use our, more than the beatings, the language is more, it can penetrate the heart. The sound, because it's a sound energy. It can go deep, it can break the heart of other person. It can destroy, it can make irreparable damage. Right? So now the solution is, now Krishna said that, so the root cause, the root cause for this anger is, what is the first point Krishna said? Where did he started? To even contemplate on certain things too much. That's where it starts. Right? So it's difficult then. So now what do we do? Should we stop contemplating on things and stop associating with people, stop getting attached to things? Should we do that? How many of you think that's a solution? It's not practical, right? We can't really do that. And some people try that. Some so-called spiritualists, they think, anger is really bad. So I shouldn't be attached to things. So they try to give up. Oh, my family, I'm too attached. I give up my family. I go to the mountains, Himalayas. So I don't have to really get into all this business. They think like that. And then later, after many years, they find themselves to be in the same situation. With somebody in the forest also, there are things that can make you angry. They make you upset. So that's not really the solution. The solution is not to really get operated and take this anger out. The solution is not to run away from all these attachments. So then what is the solution? Prabhuji, you're confusing us, You're saying anger management and you're, yes.
I think when you're angry, I think it's more of a sign you need to address and say, okay, oh, I'm feeling angry. And for me, my experience is when I feel angry, I stop myself in that moment. And I said, okay, why am I angry? And then I do remember that, there's a lecture from Bhagavad Gita that anger can really make your memory loss of what your value really is, and then you start speaking crazy. So I stop myself in that moment. I think it's more of a warning. And then you address why you're angry and think of what the options are. I think, because in reality...
Haribol! 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 Super! What a realization. Right? Isn't it something like a pain that we get? Pain is a warning that we need to see a doctor. What if there is no pain? Let's assume there is no pain. What happens? Let's say I'm dancing, I like to, maybe I like to play the harmonium always, right? There may be some disease here or something, cancer to the finger. I keep playing the harmonium all the time. I don't feel pain. Then how do I know there's a problem with the finger? Maybe I was playing with my daughter, it's broken, I keep playing. Suddenly I see there's no finger, one finger here. It fell down, you see. It's crazy, right? Oh my God! Then I take my finger to the doctor, can you please fix it? It's crazy, right? So it's better we feel pain so we know there's something wrong.
Yeah.
Right? And then before we lose, or same thing the leg, so maybe we like dancing too much, right? Sometimes we do a lot of kirtan when you go to Alachua temple. There are like tons of mridangas and great kirtan is going on. In that kirtan people like to dance, like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu taught this process was ecstasy. Sometimes people may lose their legs if there is no pain. So just like the pain is a good sign, a warning sign for us to really check it out. The anger is a wonderful sign. You're getting too attached to it. Thinks Prabhu. Think about it. Do something. Make it distant. So things like that. So that's one very good thing. What else? Now I want to hear from you because that way we will remember. So I can say it all like 15 minutes, whatever I have, or I can put all the slides up there. But it's much better. This way I can also learn.
What's the question again?
The question is now,
how do you...
we understood that anger is something that we must have, right? It's not that we can just get operated and get it removed. And it's not good to suppress it, it's not good to let it go, it's not good, but it's better to manage it. But before we manage it, we are trying to find out, what do I manage? Should I wait until I use the abusive language and then manage that person? Sorry Prabhu, forgive me. Or what do we need to manage? So that's when we went back. So what is the root cause? Root cause is the Sangha. First of all, the association, the things that we see. There's no fault, you're just passing by and you saw something. A beautiful something, right? Then you want to get it. And you go with the same road again. Yeah.
That is one kind of thing, attachment and expect. Other thing is, say, your kid, right? You want him to do something, he doesn't do it. Then also you get anger. So that's
again indirectly attachment, Indirectly attachment. See, if the other neighbor's kid is not doing it, you don't get anger. So, because we are attached to our children that, we want them to be a successful person. That's why we get anger. Krishna will never be wrong. Krishna says something and that's it. Everything should fall in place. Perfect knowledge. So now, she said, so what's the solution now? Should we just try to stop being attached and give up the families, no children, no more children, family planning, whatever, right? Or no more wife, no more. No, that's not a solution. But she said it, one good point. I want to hear from others.
She said basically time out. Is that what she said?
It's a time out. Yes, it's a time out. Perfect. It's a time out for us. We're doing too much, getting too attached. It's okay, let it go, kind of. Not, before we get frustrated, as soon as we get frustrated, don't go even till you get anger. When you see that frustration, wrath, let's say wrath. But everyone has a different degrees. Boiling temperature, like that. So we need to know our degree.
So if your time out, time heals, then the attachment at the time of the heat of it was temporary. It wasn't real attachment. At the time you were attached to it, and then it comes out, frustration, anger, and all this craziness. Then you say take time out. Then you become a little bit less attached. So the initial attachment was possibly.
So he's coming he wants a real answer. He's not convinced with it, indirectly, right? So it's a temporary situation, so what do I do? Please.
I think it's very individual. I was brought up in a very angry environment, and I suppressed, I was very quiet, and as I got older, the same thing that my father did, I did, and you could just touch me and I could get angry. And for me, it's been a lot of sitting and meditating, being with myself so I can be more present in the moment, so that when the anger would come up, I'd recognize it, like it sounds like you did, and then just stop in the moment, and be aware of it, and choose to do something else. And part of the meditation is, for me, is just thinking about God as well. Just, this is an important, and trying to bring more peacefulness in.
But you say it's individual, right? But if me and you get angry at 10 o'clock in the morning, I guarantee by 12 o'clock in the afternoon we're less angry than we were at 10 o'clock. Both of us. There's a commonality there.
No, but
When
yeah,
you're telling
both
me
are
you're
right.
at the same temperature at 10 a.m., time heals for sure. If I was angry an hour ago, I won't be at the same degree. Me or you.
It depends.
You can't be, then you can, I mean,
It depends on
you're
whether I
able to
resolved
be
it.
angry the same degree that you were
I
2
could
hours
be
ago.
angrier. I could be angrier.
No, but you're saying I should step away, right?
I'm
But
not
he's-
saying what you ought to do, I'm telling
But
you.
he's looking for a solution. See, what you made is actually a profound statement, and everyone is different because every soul is unique, right? Every individual is. There is no one like us in this entire creation. Be in the spiritual world, be in the material world, or be in the lower planetary system. So that way you're right, right? But what is the solution? So every individual is different, special. He has a special degree of where he gets angry. Giving up attachments is not a solution. It is always, when we live in the material world, we have to be attached to things. So now what is the...
Controlling the senses.
Know the limit, she said. Yeah, that's another way. Control the senses.
I think the realization of the knowledge and the realization of the knowledge is one thing. And maybe the root cause of that, basically, we need to concentrate on that when we are angry. To know with the knowledge and the realization that, hey, why this anger is coming up. Let's focus on that part.
Yeah, but then you're attaching yourself more to the root of the whole idea was to detach yourself from that anger. If you get more into it, you're going to get more angry, like she said.
No, but that's what actually.
If you don't analyze at the time,
have knowledge and the realization of.
Yeah, but that comes after you step away from it.
Yeah, that's what Mandaji was saying, right? So when you are angry, you have to understand you are angry, and then you cannot. You can. That's
cannot.
No, that's the realization of knowledge.
Because at the time of the anger, you lose your mind and you lose your
But you know, if let's say, first time you cannot, right?
Right.
Second time you can, right?
Yes.
The situation made me anger last time.
Right.
Second
Yeah,
time we
that's-
can easily remember, right?
That's true. You can
So
learn from
maybe
the
second time you slipped it, the third time at least we can remember. So anyway, at least the fourth time we know, oh, I'm getting the same situation now, right? And let me do something different now. Okay, these are material ways to understand the situation. Yeah, we know certain people make us upset. At least avoid that person, right? Eating certain food stuff also can make us angry. She can tell she's a natural. Right. There's certain food stuff that can, increase or decrease our anger. There are certain like meditation is something that can help you focus on the higher thing. And if your vision is very low, right, then we get the fear is, the greater the fear is. The broad-minded you are, the less the fear is, right? The more, if you know that there is somebody protecting you, the fear is less, right? The bigger problem is if we are all having our own circles of attachment. This is my center, right? And this is the circle of my family, my property, my friends, my this, my that. And everybody has their centers and their circles. So when they collide, that's when the fear comes. Isn't it? Isn't it? Yeah, most of the time, somebody is crossing their limits. They're coming to my boundary. Like Srikar Prabhu rightly said, it's my personal business, something like that he said, right? So he had already a circle there, right? I'm crossing his boundaries. He's about to show his anger on me, right? So let's understand, this is the problem. Huh? What if we all have a common center? at least common group of people, they have a common center. At least some of us here have a common center. We have Krishna in the center, right? Most of us. And Satsang is our, we are like a family. And we like to serve together, nice prasadam, we do like nice kirtan. So what can make us upset in this big common circle, where God is in the center? We have our circles together. At least among this group, no one can make me upset. Because we have the common goals. Isn't it, something practical to think about? Right? We are all attached to the same thing. And it doesn't really matter, at least, whether so it is spiritual and there is no loss or gain. If he progress, I'll be happy. If he's doing much better, at least we have a common goal. It's not that I have this, So, ultimately, it boils down to that we have to understand to having this selfish nature. As so long we have this selfish thing, right, there's so much competition comes like this. The more we become the family of the God, the less the anxiety will be, the less the fears will be, right? And even if you're attached, let's say in this process, right? In this process, even if you're attached, even if you're anger, I would call it as a righteous anger. Because you're getting angry for a right, like he was saying, your son. If you want to be angry on your son, as a duty, it's a righteous anger. But if you want to be angry on your neighbor's son, it's not a righteous anger. You still can be angry at your neighbor's son if you have a relationship with him, if you are his teacher. You see? So the righteous anger is an anger which is used on a right person at a right time, to a right degree, for a right purpose. So many rights we can say like that, right? That is righteous anger. Anger as a duty. In fact, Krishna is letting Arjuna to, without anger we can't fight, right? Krishna is giving that transcendental anger to Arjuna. He's empowering Arjuna to be angry at the opposite side and kill them, right? But he's assuring that you won't get any sin, like yesterday we were discussing. Correct? If we're killing, by killing, if he is not accumulating sin, then all the other things also we can do without accumulating sin. As long as we do it for the pleasure of God. Then what happens is, I was about to find a verse where Lord Shiva, he was accused by his father-in-law. And his wife, Parvati, Sati, she burned herself with anger. There is a verse, I could find exact word, 449 I thought it was, where Lord Shiva says, my mind, I'm always attached to Krishna. I'm not disturbed by this abusive language that other people use. I am not really disturbed by them, because I am attached to you, my Lord. It's worthy. He was explaining wonderfully. Maybe Prasad I should find it. And he's saying that I can forgive them with this power, with the compassion. Because I have compassion, I can forgive them. Now, this session, whatever you take with you or not, I would like to stress on one point on forgiveness. Right? Because it's natural to be attached, it's natural to get angry, and we can't avoid whether it's righteous or wrong, right? But one thing that we must learn to do is to forgive. To forgive and to ask for forgiveness. So like Shyam Prabhu was saying that, sometimes you don't know these different situations. So when you get anger, then the next immediate thing that you must do is, whether he forgives you or not, please go and ask for forgiveness.
What is that? What is the purpose of that? For your inner self, or for genuine?
It's a
genuine.
It's a spiritual principle that one must ask forgiveness when he loses temper, when he uses abusive language or whatever. You must ask forgiveness. It's a spiritual principle. It can elevate your spiritual consciousness, and you're setting an example for the other person to everybody else.
So after your anger?
Yes.
After.
Yeah. I mean, we learn so many tips, right? To be less attached, take it like a warning, to control the senses, to have a regulated life, to come to mode of goodness. Anger is more associated with the mode of passion. The moment we are angry, we should know that we are attached to things. We have a passion. But Krishna consciousness is so wonderful that we can transform all our passion, like any spiritual path. It should help us to use that passion for a better thing. Right? So the best thing is to transform our desires, material desires, into spiritual desires. That way what happens, like Hanuman. Does anyone don't know about Hanuman? Do you know, Kate? You know. So what he did in Lanka? He burnt it. But he was glorious. You see, he's used his anger for the Lord, not for himself. So the spiritual principle is, if you are getting angry because of your selfish desire, or because somebody disturbed my senses and my family's senses, then that is called, that anger can give us very bad karma. But if you are getting anger as a matter of service to the Lord, just because the service to the Lord is getting disturbed, or service to society, maybe you get a little better karma. Or like the soldier is getting anger because his nation is being invaded by the enemies, he gets little better karma. Correct? Because similarly, if you can become a spiritual police, much better. So, so let's say we are a born person like this, it's hard to change. We have to wait for next life probably, right? But at least in this life, let's try to use that in a proper service.
So if you don't forgive, then what are the consequences?
If you don't forgive, then what happens is you get bad karma. Especially if you are trying to transform into spiritual life, then you're among the spiritual people, then what happens is, remember, this is the last point I want to say. God is a person, right? Whether you think he's an impersonal energy or whatever, right? He has the same feelings, and he has a person. And he is qualitatively almost like us. But this quantity is much infinite and very infinitesimal. Correct? This is understood, right? The Lord also gets attached. You agree?
Yes.
Can the Lord get attached to his devotees?
Yes.
So because he is attached to his devotees, can he get anger?
Yes.
This is the problem. So for the Lord, same principle applies. If somebody kicks him on his chest, he'll think, oh, just like my daughter kicks me on the chest, I don't care. You see? But if my two daughters fight, I get angry. That's a stronger principle. You can't fight. This morning I broke their toy, because, we can't fight. If you fight for any toy, I'm going to break it in pieces. That's the principle. I stretched one thing, I'm hanging there in the kitchen, if you can all see them. Set them as an example. They were fighting for a spring. Similarly, the Lord also does like that. You offend him, you abuse him, you write poems about how cruel he is, he's a dead person, he's created this, and you write a whole book on him. You just take it light. Oh, the crazy son. One more crazy son I have. Out of this unlimited crazy view. He'll take it as a joke, he'll smile, and he'll enjoy it. Whatever you do, he'll enjoy it. But if you disturb the other son without a proper relation, if you offend him, if you don't ask forgiveness, it really hurts him. That's why, in the Vaishnava philosophy, it says the aparadh, Vaishnava aparadh is the biggest danger one can offend. Because Vaishnava